I want to talk to you today about something that is critical. And I want you to take this information and go think about it and start talking to the people. Hierdie inligting wat ek vir u vandag wil gee, het my nou 3 dae gevat om dit te dissemineer, om 'n bietjie daaroor te dink en opinie te kry. En ek wil dit vir u gee. Die UIM is 'n politieke beweging wat 'n politieke party gaan raak, omdat ons jou wil raak. Want ons is jy. Ek is gevra in 'n interview gister, how would you describe the UIM? And I said, it's a people's group. It's a people's party. It's the only party that currently updated understands you. In Soweto, Guguletu, Klerksdorp, Uppington, Allei plekke, George, Knysna, Durban, Bloemfontein, PE, Gqeberha and Mangaung. We get you because we are you. So if you want to really understand what's going around in this country, we'll tell you the truth. Unashamedly, without hesitation, to the point, we'll give you the truth. And that's what we lost in political parties. That's all. The ANC, the EFF, the Vryheidsfront, the DA, good, sleg, Herman Mashaba, blessings Herman. You had 5 years as a mayor. I don't know what you're going to change in the next 5. What will make it so different? Musi Maimane, 10 years, 5 years opposition, couldn't stop anything. I'm sorry, we will change it. A new dawn, a new party, a new country is going to be led by us, the United Independent Movement. And why? Here it comes, because we care. Our life was never destined to be politicians. Mense, ek is nie gebore om 'n politikus te wees nie. I wanted to be an entrepreneur and a businessman. And I'm now going into this thing called politics with you. So that I can get up in council, I can get up in parliament and say you're a liar and you stole and you should go to jail. Without fear, favor, or worry that my pocket isn't going to get lined up. That's it. Ordinary people. So here's the thing, and I'm breaking this down. I had to break it down so that I can understand it. Taking a complex issue and making it simple. Complexity simple. So I sat down and I wanted to understand. When they speak about the changing of the Constitution of South Africa, specifically Section 25. Ek wou weet, wat is hierdie gesprek oor die verandering van ons land se konstitusie, veral punt nommer 25. What is Section 25? Wat is punt nommer 25 in ons konstitusie? En ons praat nou oor hierdie ding van neem van land sonder vergoeding. Taking land without compensation. In other words, this government, driven by the ANC, is trying to enforce a law change in our constitution that will allow government, i.e. the ruling party, to come and take land, be it vacant land or occupied land, in the name of state. Because in Section 25 of the Constitution, it guarantees us as citizens the right to hold land, the right to have title deed. The current Constitution protects us. It says that my movable and my immovable property, if I own it, it's mine. And let's now start there. This is not the probable change that this government wants. The changes to Section 25 of the Constitution, should they get right what they want to get right, South Africa, is damning And it is a torpedo right through the economy of this country, and it will affect and have a cause and effect devastating for this country's future. That's why the UIM is not getting involved in other matters of clutter, because matters of health, matters of education, matters of discussion and debate about petty politics has gone this way, and the UIM is focused on the greatest onslaught now of the freedom and the right to be free in this country. And that's the attack, I call it an attack, on this constitution of this country. The UIM seems to be the only political movement that's talking like this. And therefore, it's clear. I read an article, I studied the article, and we debated the article. Daar's 5 goed wat nou belangrik is. Please listen. 5 things, very important. They are going to take the word land, and there's a probability they will change the word land to property. The minute they change land without enumeration, and they put property without compensation, we are in trouble, which goes exactly against what the Constitution protects us for. Now, I'm very clear on this. I want you to listen because it's important. You are armed. Dat jy gewapen is met die waarheid. And that we have a debate about this. And that you take on your neighbor, your family, your boss, and give them this, which we have now for 2 weeks studied. The article speaks about the probable huge onslaught on holding property if they put property instead of land in the constitutional reform. Because now, what is defined as property? Property. Are we then speaking about? And this opinion piece and our investigation is now saying the following. Property is not necessarily land, earth, ground, hectare, square meter. No, sir. No, madam. Property is everything you own. It is the right of ownership on more than just earth. It's your shares in a company because it is your property. It is your company ownership because your company's ownership is your property. It's your gun. Die geweer, the gun, which they also know attacking the rights for you to have. Because the gun, the rifle, the hunting rifle, the collection of firearms as a collector, that now is your property. And he put in the Constitution that they can take property without compensation. It puts that in jeopardy. But here's the most shocking one. One that clearly affects me as an entrepreneur and a businessman. And this was something I never thought of. It is the mere fact that this article about a very intellectual person giving opinion about this constitutional change said, what about intellectual property? IP. Because the article starts and says that if they take property without compensation in the Constitution, people like Elon Musk, people like Mark Shuttleworth, people like Neil de Beer that have ideas, that have got concepts, that have got thoughts of starting a unique business, those people, the inventors of the world of intellectual property, will not do it in South Africa anymore because they have then right to also take your IP. And the ramification on that is shocking. Because if I decide, like I've done, I created a financial system where I made sure that we create a new unique way of funding projects in Africa through my fund. It's IP. That IP belongs to me. It's like a patent. How many of you out there know of people that invented something? Your uncle, your dad, your sister, your brother, your cousin invented a mechanism, invented a new bucket, a new line, a new engine, a new particle, and patented it. Copyrighted it. It's copyrighted and patented because it's your intellectual property. And it's defined under property. So this article, this opinion piece, this thing that we've now studied, if they say that they can take property without compensation, it automatically, in our opinion, includes that. Whoa. If you've not thought of this process, then what kind of government are you? That if a person's losing the right of property, security, investment, and trade, that all that you are doing is you're taking jobs away and you're making the poor poorer. Now here's the thing. The African National Congress and the people that are running government are totally trying to now do something which the ANC intrinsically said it won't do. I was there, and that's why I vehemently disagree. They are going from a democratic, capitalistic agreement of ideology to a communistic, nationalistic institution. And if you look at the ANC, COSATU Union, and Communist Party tripartite, it is now an effective move within the ANC tripartite alliance to make this government a communistic nationalistic system. Now, contrary to belief, I never agreed with that, because since day one, we agreed that this country would be open, free, fair, capitalistic and democratic. And if that is not so, then no wonder people like me that had an other ideology are now fighting the system. Because without work, there can be no compensation and there can be no taking the poor out of their current position. It's logic. Dames en here, is logies dat die systeem wat hierdie mense op hierdie oomblik probeer implementeer is 'n kommunistiese nasionale totale ideologie. And it suits two people. It suits the ANC and without a doubt the EFF. That's it. The South African Communist Party, COSATU, the ANC and the EFF are communistically, nationalistically inclined. They're not socialists, because a socialist does not incline on governing and taking over everything and owning everything. It actually wants to give society something, so they can't claim to be that. I'm very clear on it. Nou kom ons praat reguit. Let's talk straight. Section 25 of this country's constitution. No. The whole constitution must be defended. And the only people that will defend it is us. We are the constitution. We are the justice. We are those people that need to get up and go, no. South Africa, the UIM is clear. We are very clear. All demographic, all religion, all race, and all walks of society, be it rich or poor or middle class, you need to now sit down and say, what is your alternative? Whom is your alternative to the current cabal? Cabal sitting in parliament. 400 members of parliament that costs 2.6 billion a year. I'll say it again. Here's some stats for you. Hier's 'n paar syfers wat jou teen die kop klap soos 'n bouerpan, non-stick. Parliament costs the people 2.6 billion rand a year. Of the 2.6 billion per year to run Parliament, 406 million salaries of people that are members of Parliament. 308 million, they call it catering and amenities. 308 million. 327 million, party contribution to help political parties, and a further 385 million given to parties to canvass and caucus. 2.6 billion. Does that work for you? Because what are you getting from those people who sit in Parliament and in 27 years have brought South Africa to ground zero? You happy with them? No, sir. No, madam. Fire them. And the biggest reason why parliamentarians, politicians, are not making the right decisions is because they haven't even run a spaza shop. Their career is politics. That's right. The majority of our members of parliament, go look at their stats. They've been in politics and parliament 3/4 of their life. They know nothing else. You had 10 years. Yay. And you opposed what? Points of order, points of blah blah is not effectively changing the country. You've got to mobilize this country to the point where you say enough. This country has had enough of threatening politicians, threatening councillors, that we are going to change the system and fire them. And that's the problem with us. No more. The clarity I've given you, the discussion I've had to you on the change of section 25 of this constitution about property land is a fact. The other problem that we've got is they are trying to now also force through a policy decision taken in the ANC in 2017, where I vehemently got up and walked out, 16 of us, where they're trying to now nationalize the Reserve Bank. South Africa, why is that important? Hoekom is dit belangrik? Vir al 560 van julle, hoekom is dit belangrik? No. And I know it's going to spread to 10,000 and 30,000 in blessings. I'll tell you why. The Reserve Bank of this country houses what we call the Monetary Policy Committee. The Monetary Policy Committee of the Reserve Bank is the group that decides on what is the repo rate and what is the inflation on your credit. So the Reserve Bank doesn't just handle money. The Reserve Bank doesn't just make sure Forex happens correctly. No, sir. No, madam. The Reserve Bank of South Africa actually calculates debt. The monetary policy decides, are they cutting the expense of inflation on what you pay back on debt or raise it? And if this group of people take over the Reserve Bank, they are going to bankrupt this country, because not one of them is schooled to understand the fiscus. Because if they are stealing like they're stealing now, how the hell are they going to curb inflation? Nee man, again the Neil de Beer daily ice cream goes to almal van hulle. Almal. Hey, TikTok Tito, you're a moron. You are sitting there as the ex-governor of the Reserve Bank and now the Minister of Finance. And under your eyes, they're stealing 2 trillion. Where are you? If there's someone that I thought would get up in justice and defend us, it's the Minister of Finance. And they're stealing. Another 1.4 billion rand scandal under the SAPS yesterday for PPE. South Africa, we as a country cannot take this hit on our tax money, on our GDP income. And they are willing to take this country down with them. More than this, I cannot inform you. I cannot educate you more than this, except tell you that Neil de Beer, his executive, on normal people reading paper, getting a bit of more intelligence and in-depth information to share with you, the people. For the truth shall set you free. There comes a time in one's life where you've got to then give your life. I had a debate yesterday with my team when I said to them, we need to raise enough money in this country to go fight the loss of money, to go fight the injustice of this country, to go and defend our people that are just trying to go on with life. We've tried to raise it. The DA is sending messages for money and the ANC is taking it. And the UIM is on the road, is fighting in the court, now again going to the ends of the earth today on the road to speak to people that are advocates and constitute. That's where I'm going right now. And we still don't stand together, South Africa. We asked to help us. And someone said to me last night, Neil, another guy wrote a check of 650,000 rand to a political party last night. You've asked for 350,000 rand to finally get to launch of party, launch commission, constitution, and to go fight this. And you can't even raise 100,000 rand. And I went, yeah, we are about the only political movement that's put our life on the line that's now going in. And why aren't South Africans helping us? Why are they not giving us the help? And someone said, Neil, have you ever thought about it? That maybe you are speaking too much the truth. And maybe this country, not all, but the majority has gone into a systematic, corrupt ideology. And maybe, Neil, you knowing the enemy, you coming from the inside of the dragon, maybe that's why there is a global and a national attitude not to fund you. To keep you from getting money so that you can register as an official political party and to nail them to the cross. And that's why you won't make it. You won't get enough money by the end of this week and next week to officially get to the deadline of registering and launching the UIM. Have you ever thought of that? Yo, I was devastated. I was devastated because I thought, when you stand up and you stand up for justice, you stand up for the 11,000 people maybe that have now supported you, then more than nearly 5,000 members that have written and became members of the UIM. Maybe if you go on a tour, you do videos, you become insulting to those that lie. That we would get business people, family people that would get up and go, this guy's our chance. I don't know if you saw last night a video from a true South African, a great farming guy, a goeie Afrikaner, that said that the UIM, he said my name, but he said that the UIM is truly the last hope. And I thanked him for it and I asked why. And this is the reason. Truth. We are not paid. We are not supported. We do this because we got up and we went no more. So I don't get it, South Africa. I don't always get it. And I've learned that it's not about logic anymore. They want to take our guns so that we become indefensible so that they can continue. They want to change Section 25 of this Constitution, and they want to take our assets and our money away through the Reserve Bank. South Africa, the UIM, is not going to allow this. We are not. And if it costs me my last money, my last cent, my last time leaving my businesses and being in a car every day, then this is the price to pay. Because all of us in this country have had enough. All of us. Every one of us. But we cannot unite. They are the politicians. We the people. The Constitution starts this way, South Africa. It says we the people. We the people must make a decision that every politician, I'm sorry, I know some of you, has failed us. They failed us. And therefore, daarvoor moet ons nou die mens vat en opstaan in hierdie republiek. We've called you to arms and not guns. We have called you to arms with a pen, a computer, a paper, and we said, let's go to war. And it's not the war that people think of, picking up firearms and going into a revolution. No, because we won't win that way honorably. No one wins in war. The war we must have is the ballot box. The ballot box. 27 October. This country will take a decision to listen to the utter rubbish that the people of this government in every political party has served us. And those politicians that gone from blue to green to gold and yellow. You are still the same man. You are still the same politician. Your menu, your recipe failed. It's tyd dat ons 'n ander koek bak. Now, when do we get this right? When? When do we now get up, farmer, plumber, breakdown driver, electrician and banker, doctor, soldier, nurse and school teacher? When are you getting up and looking at me and find out finally I have nothing, no agenda, absolutely tired, and still have hope for this country? Wanneer kry ons dit in ons, amper sê ek daai woord, brein, that there are just good people in this country that don't do it for money. I have enough. That don't do it for power. I have power. And don't do it for fame. But do this for my children. Do this for my brother, for my family, and for you. That you are willing to sacrifice every minute that you've got for this young republic of South Africa that we were born in. That stirs emotion in your soul. That remembers the time when we had a great nation. Remembers World Cups. Remembers those days that as a country we could be proud. And today we sit and we have no hope. We have fear. And yeah, we have anger. South Africa, it's time we set aside who we are. It's time that we put aside the past and we become what we are supposed to be, not whom we are. Dis tyd dat hierdie land nou terugsit, waar ook al u terugsit, en vergeet wie jy is. Maar dat ons nou droom vir wat ons kan wees. Ons het 'n groot berg om te klim. Ons het 'n Everest om te klim. Maar ons is bereid om klein bergie vir klein bergie op hierdie oomblik aan te vat. Want voordat jy Everest klim, moet jy tog kyk na Kilimanjaro. Moet jy tog kyk en sê, kan ek die Kaapse Tafelberg klim? Kan ek die Drakensberge klim? Kan ek Kilimanjaro verslaan? En dan kyk vir my familie en sê, dis tyd vir Everest. Ons Kilimanjaro is die 27ste Oktober Suid-Afrika. The UIM's Kilimanjaro is 27 October. And should we make it, by God's divinity, by God's intervention and your support, your love and loyalty, and we conquer our Kilimanjaro by taking out councillors and putting in we the people, jy en ek, we will be able to then prove to you over 3 years that the united independent movement that stands against crime, against corruption, the redistribution of ethical capital, and in Christ and in whatever God your religious dictates you, as long as it says good, that we in 2024 will then rise to take on Everest. Take on Everest. Because you can't take on Everest alone. You can, but it's death-defying. Rather do it together. So we are standing here and saying, the united independent movement will rise. We are adding 50 to 100 people through Lorna, Vanessa, Sher, Brett, my team at home, Jesse, Victor, Hasi, Jock, everybody. Chris Jonk, Tanny that's still there fighting, Yaki, Dwayne, Gert, Klaasie, Hanu, Hannes van Rensburg. I've got so much to mention. To me in Soweto, Ntombi now in Gooks, Vanessa in Heideveld, and a big surprise coming in Manenberg. Shafiq fighting in Mitchell's Plain. People just getting up and fighting. Basil Leverman, PE. Kabera. South Africa, the UIM is rising. And the UIM might be small. We might be this small entity now. But God knows we are coming. We are coming. And if we have to be the small tip of a massive icebreaker to open up this field for a clear pathway to God's earth, I'm willing to wait 10, 20, 30 years. And I will give those years to you. But without you, without your money, your funding, your prayer, and your spirit, Neil de Beer's lost. We are lost. But to you, when we asked you to pray, who prayed? To give us some funding, we are standing this morning on 98,000 rand raised. 98,000. So take 350,000, take off 98,000. That's what we left with. But people gave. They still giving. A gentleman donated 20. Lady gave 10. Another gentleman last night. You know who you are. You're a great man. Actually, you're a very big man. You're a great friend, and I'm going to mention your name. Hanu. Hanu gave 10 grand last night from his family. And he comes from a business that's destructed, and which is the hunting and the wild. He wrote that check last night to say, Neil, I was there with you from day one. Ek is by jou met alles wat ek het. That took us to 97. We've got 250 to go. We've got to register. Because the day and the minute that this party is on the ballot, I'm sure that we will then be able to contend. The battle line is drawn. Ons lyne is getrek, maar ons lyne is ordentlik. Dit het maniere, dit het respek en dit het 'n verstandhouding in God. Ek sien ons groei. Ek sit hier in 'n kar, soos op pad na 'n belangrike vergadering om hierdie konstitusie te verdedig. Gee ons julle blessing. Give us your prayer today that the people we are meeting that are going to assist us in defending, if necessary, in the world court overseas, your right as a South African. We know what we're doing. I've been working hard with my team, Jacques and myself, my CEO, and every single other person of the 8-man team. And that's where I'm on my way to now. Is to go speak to those people that will be able to take, if we fail in this country, to go to Den Haag. Because we will never surrender. We will never stop. And one more thing. No amount of swearing, no amount of vulgarity, no manner, your attitude. You remain a gentleman and a gentle lady, and you take on a conflict in justice. And that's the manner of the UIM. Yeah, we get cross. But that is not us. You know, every time I get annoyed, I think, what would you want me to do? And if you want a president that is honorable, has manners, is a gentleman and courteous, then so shall be. I want to say that I am shocked, saddened, and absolutely dishonored in the manner of Julius Malema, Frikkie, and the rest of the people representing Parliament. You have got a disgusting, non-mandated and unethical approach to sit in that Pan-African Parliament and fight and scream and behave like that as a member of that institution representing. Now I'm going to tell you, if I haven't told you, are disgusting. And you shouldn't even represent this country in 'n loodtrekkery op 'n foreign beach waar toutrekke kompetisie is. Ek sal jou nie eens daar inskryf nie, want jy's 'n pateet. You have disgusted South Africa. You have dishonored and disrespected the voice and the face of this humble country in a platform on international TV. You have shown the exact reason why the world laughs at us. Why the world has said no money to you. Want julle gedra julle soos barbare, not an animal. Because animals don't even do this. Ja, julle het ons embarrass. So vir elke politikus wat op hierdie oomblik so homself wangedra namens die respectabele Suid-Afrikaners, sies op jou, disgusting. Now here's my final call. President Ramaphosa, Soekie Cyril. Soekie Cyril, want ons soek jou. If you don't suspend now Julius Malema as the representative of the Pan-African Parliament on behalf of my and your country, then it is the final sign that you and him are in cahoots. Ek gaan dit duidelik sê. After the behavior of Julius Frikkie Malema in a disgusting, barbaric way, as jy hom nie fire en vandag suspend nie, vir sy houding en sy aksies, wat ons verteenwoordig, dan sê ek nou op rekord, dis die finale bewys, dat julle en hulle, die ANC en die EFF, dat julle 'n partypolitieke simbiose het. Ek sê dit nou, julle het 'n verhouding. Want dit is die enigste logiese scenario wat ek kan dink. Ek het nie feite nie, maar ek is nie gebore net in die aand. I was born at night, not last night. As jy hom nie aanvat en vandag daar uithaal en hom op hierdie oomblik suspend nie, dan is dit 'n duidelike bewys dat daar iets tussen julle is en dat die mense wat dink julle het klaar daai ding gedoen, daai partnership, julle ons gaan reg bewys. Bewys my verkeerd, Cyril. Suspend that man. Show us your guts. Tot tyd en wyl gaan ons jou monitor. Tot tyd en wyl gaan die UIM nie net hof toe nie, gaan ons nie net staan nie, maar hier kom 'n groot ding. En indien jy dit so wil hê, dan sal ons vra en ons sal werk met alle ander groepe. En ons sal 'n miljoen mense in elke groot stad bymekaar kry op een dag. Want dit is wat die mense voel. Ek wens 55 miljoen sou opstaan. Maar jy COVID ons. Jy lock ons down. Meneer die president, jy kan ons lockdown met die wet, maar jy kan nie ons harte toesluit nie, hoor. Jy kan nie ons brein en ons hart toesluit nie. That's not open for lockdown. Dames en here, ek hoop ek is duidelik. I think my discussion is clear. It's clear. Ons moet onsself verdedig by die regte wat ons het en by die wet wat ons het. En die UIM, ons is reg vir daai fight, maar ons het jou nodig. Also yesterday, just quickly, I'm not going to mention names, it was a privileged meeting, some people that are getting up for their own rights, for their own justice. And I want to make it very clear. Bullying of a woman, gender-based violence, our women and our children bullying people like that. Taking a man, attacking a woman is cowardice. Because women were given to us by God to protect, to honor, and to dignify. If you can't treat a woman correctly, if you can't dignify yourself for our women in this country and our children, then you should have no respect and dignity placed on yourself. Any man that hits, abuses, intimidates, or takes the dignity away from women should not be classed as godly. Because from man came women, so that we can honor and look after them. Ek gaan dit duidelik in Afrikaans sê. Ons manne is daar gemaak om ons vrouens te eer, te beskerm en op ons hande te dra. Ons dames. As jy nie 'n vrou en 'n kind kan respekteer, eer en totaal beskerm nie, dan is jy nie 'n man nie. En dan kan jy ook nie sê jy's goddelik nie. Want uit man het vrou gekom. Gister het 'n paar dames opgestaan en gesê genoeg is genoeg en hulle self verdedig het en ek was daar. Die roemer is dat een vrou wou opgee, bang was om op te staan en toe ek daar arriveer, het ek blykbaar net vir daai laaste stukkie gegee om op te staan en te sê genoeg is genoeg. You know who you are. Vir jou, ek is baie lief vir jou. En dit was 'n groot eer net om daar by julle te kom sit en te sê, ons vrouens is die rots van hierdie land. Hulle gee ons kinders vir ons en hulle kyk, so wie jy wat, nee, enigiets vir ons dames. Mans staan op vir julle vrouens. Daar's baie dames en vrouens wat alleen is, nee. Single moms. My final discussion to you is never get abused. Never let your dignity be taken away, because us as men, we have a de facto responsibility to love and look after you. Ja, julle maak ons kwaad partymal. Julle dryf ons 'n bietjie mal, hulle noem dit druk knoppies, nee. Maar dis alright, ons is nog steeds lief vir julle. No woman in this country should ever suffer abuse. Never. And we men will not allow it. So to all of you, today, thank you for listening. Thank you for standing here and taking our message, even if it is in a car park at this moment, to heart. Thank you for the privilege of allowing me every Wednesday to speak to you, to connect with you and to just tell you my opinion. Again, it's just my opinion, but I know what the people are saying. So God bless you today. May God's greatest hand just come over this country and give us peace, dignity, understanding, and logic. And may He also love us and show us that love, at the end of the day, funny enough, and I'm sure romantic, that love actually covers all. And His love is great. Vir almal van julle mag God se rykste seën sy groot hand oor ons land kom, om vir ons die intellek, die ideologie en die wysheid te gee. Hierdie inligting wat ons met U deel as die UAM, hele party, is sodat ons kan meer dink en meer gesprekke hê. En ons is bereid om dit te doen. Al sit ons in 'n parkeerarea in die middel van 'n baie mooi land. Mag die Here se rykste seën oor julle wees. Mag julle ons gebede gee vandag dat ons die regte besluite neem namens U en hierdie land. Dit is baie belangrik. Baie dankie vir die gebede. Sien uit om weer vanaand oor 'n koppie koffie met 'n paar van julle so tussen 6 en 8 te praat. En julle sê altyd dis 'n groot surprise as ek julle bel, maar om die waarheid te sê, as ek met julle praat, het ek baie trane en baie emosie. So baie dankie. Ek's baie lief vir julle. I love you very much. Spread this message. Let's take our country back. UIM first, South African even higher, and with God's love, the ultimate. Baie dankie. Sien julle later, praat met julle. Gatskopdag. I'm getting that right. Kick-ass day. Go make South Africa better. We are. Join us. Baie dankie. Julle sien julle. Bye-bye.